Guys, it's Matt Collins-Jones here, MCJ, back with another video, and today we are looking at a brand new Flow Designer experience. Power Automate has had the same sort of designer on the same canvas for quite a number of years now, ever since it came out, and they have made minor tweaks and minor adjustments over the time, but now we have a brand new experience which will be the default experience going forward. So you won't see this in all your environments at the moment. You'll only see this in certain circumstances, and I'll kind of talk through those little bits. This is going to be the default experience, so when people come to build a flow, this will be what they see by default going forward, but at the moment it's in preview, it's only in a couple of certain little areas. So firstly, if you want to just jump into using it, if you're in a region that has Copilot, you can go to powerautomate.com, so make.powerautomate.com, and you can go to flows, and there's a new default experience, which is you can type in what you want a flow to do, and it'll automatically generate the flow, and it'll take you through those steps, and it'll open in the new designer. If you're not in one of those regions and you go to create a new flow, you won't see the flow, the new flow designer. But if you edit an existing flow, you do have an option to toggle to the new designer. So let's do that. So we're in Power Automate here. I'm in a solution and I have a flow here called New Designer Flow. So if I click that, it'll open up in a new tab, and then we will see there's an edit button at the top. So edit used to just be a single button, and now it is a flyout. So we've got edit with new designer and edit. So edit takes you to the old experience, edit in new designer takes you to the new experience. Let's click edit in new designer. And this will bring up a new canvas. So this is the new experience. This is the new designer. So this is just a flow with just a couple of things. So we've got a trigger and we've got a compose step, but we can add into this. So let's take a look around. So firstly, we've still got the similar sort of experience at the top. We've still got new flow designer. We've got test and flow checker. There's a little drop down here that allows you to switch back to the classic designer. So if you hit any bugs, if you hit any issues with this, you can just switch back to the classic designer. Make sure you save your flow first. The first thing you kind of notice is that everything is a lot smaller. So there's a lot of like dots on this canvas, but everything's a lot smaller. I can actually click and drag around the canvas like this. I also have a couple of extra buttons where I can zoom in and zoom out. So especially when you get to those larger flows, those ones with like dozens or potentially 100 actions or multiple strokes or multiple branches, this actually allows you to visualize things in a nice easy way. We also have this this search button here, which pops this new experience out on the right, and we can search and go straight to an operation. So if I like type compose in, I can click that, and it'll take us straight to where that compose action is. So again, if you have a really large flow and you need to search around for something, or something's hidden in a scope somewhere, this can be really useful. The last button at the bottom is the toggle minimap. So again, if you're used to sort of the old style designer that we had for business process flows, there was a mini map, so you could kind of navigate around it, and you can kind of see down on the bottom left, it's showing us where our actions are and things like that on a mini map. So we can just turn that off. So zoom in a little bit, and the first thing you'll probably notice as you come into this designer is that everything's smaller, and you're like, okay, so if I click this, does it give me all the options? Slightly. So there's a different experience now. So if I click on the trigger, I now have this pane that pops out from the left hand side, meaning that I don't constantly have to scroll up and scroll down the page. I can just click this and it pops out, and it's always going to be the same size, and I'm always going to get that same experience. So instead of editing things kind of in line in the action itself, you can kind of click around, choose the action, choose the trigger, etc., and you will get this experience that pops out on the left. So things have moved around a little bit. So that's one thing that we need to be aware of. So previously, you would have the action. You'd have I think 3 dots or an ellipsis up on the right, and then that would give you all the additional options like settings and code view and things like that. We no longer have those things. What we actually have over here is all the settings over here. So we have parameters. So this is a manual trigger flow, meaning that I can add a parameter. So if I click on add an input, I still get that same experience that I would do with the old designer. I still have the option to add in things like text, and I have, I can add in a yes, no, for instance, and I can still add these things in. If I click on the little menu button, I do have the option to delete. There is no option at the moment, I can see, to make these required or not required, which is something that's maybe missing there. So I should make sure we feed that back to Microsoft. There's the settings tab. Settings tab will control the settings. So again, same settings you're used to. Things like concurrency control, security inputs off or on, and tracking ID. We also have the code view, which again we could previously see and previously get into. So again, we've got a request button, and we've got all the different things in here. So this is the code of the things that we're trying to build. So like that, and then the about talks a little bit about the connector itself. So tags, there are no tags. Operation note, manual trigger flow. Connector not available. It's not a connector. So we've got all these options here, and we can still do those same things. If I go into the top right in the more commands, there's an option for add a note, and I can also delete this action. So again, we're going to be doing everything from the left-hand side of the screen now, no longer in the actions themselves. So that's kind of interesting. I can also press this button here, and it collapses or expands my view. And I can still come in here and edit my triggers and things, and edit my names and my actions. So manual flow trigger. So we can still do that. We can see updates in real time on the canvas. So that's pretty cool. If I click into my compose action, we have the same sort of thing. So again, I have my inputs, I have everything here. Again, I have my settings, and the settings are different from the manual trigger settings. The code view is again different from that, and the about is again slightly different. Constructs an arbitrary object from the actions inputs. That's an interesting note. Thank you. But what if we want to add in some other actions? What if we add in something that's a little bit has a little bit more detail to it? So maybe like add a row in Dataverse, for instance. So we can click on the insert new step. So again, same as we used to have previously, and we still have a little menu here. Allow me to drag stuff around. We'll show that in a second. I click on here, click on add an action. This is a brand new experience for us. So this is designed to help users find what they're looking for a bit easier. So not only do we have the search box at the top, we also have a runtime. So do we want to look at all actions? Do we want to look at just the built-in ones, the standard ones, the premium ones, and the custom ones? Again, this is a familiar experience. It's just that same bar that was along the top. And again, we do have actions or triggers that we can look for here. So it is slightly different. It is kind of showing you things in more alphabetical order and things like that. So it's something to be aware of. If I want to let's look for a premium connector, and let's just, I don't need to just do that. I can just type in Dataverse, for instance. And this is the interesting bit. So there's a group by connector. So this little toggle here, this little checkbox, what it's going to do is it's going to group all the actions that it thinks you are looking for by the connector. So it's found Autodesk Exchange first, which is in alphabetical order. So it's popping that one there first, and it's going to give me details about 3 of their connectors. And then it's found the Microsoft Dataverse one, which is the one I was looking for. And it's going to give me a couple of different actions and things here. And I can click on see more to it. So it's grouping it by connector. If I uncheck that, it's going to show me all of the actions not grouped by connector. So it thinks I'm looking for this download a file one, or this, get details about data. It's trying to show me those ones. That's not exactly too useful because I'm going to have to search through here. But if I know, for instance, that I want to add a row, I can actually find all of the rows about it, all the connectors and actions about it. It's great. Go back to group by connector. I can again see these things in order, and here I've got some details about it. So it's got a little tag that says in app, meaning that it's in an application. So this is something that's going to be running in a model-driven app, or running in a Canvas app, or running in Microsoft Dataverse, and that's why it says in app. I don't know what the other tags say, but we'll find out as we go through this video. We do have some information things here. So this talks about the connector itself, and then if I hover over the same thing for the actions, it tells me about those actions. So if I click on add a new row, click that one. Right, so again, new experience. It's still the same, so we need to choose a table name. So we'll click on accounts, for instance, and once we do that, we can see after that brief pause, it loads in all of the fields that we need to populate and all of the optional fields as well. So again, it's going to filter up the ones that are required to the top. So account name is the only one required. So we'll call the account Power Automate Gang, because we're a Power Automate gang. And we can see again all of the different things down here, and there's an advanced parameters down here. So I can choose show all, so I can again just find all the parameters. But I do have this option down here to actually say, hey, do you know what? I want to populate in account number, and I want to populate in let's choose something a bit further down. Primary Twitter ID, sure, why not? Because Elon needs some more money. So as I click those and click off it, it's actually added these things in down here, and I can choose, do you know what, I don't need the primary Twitter ID, I'll remove that, but I can keep the account there. So that's actually really handy, because there are sometimes I don't want to have to scroll constantly every time I add a new action to find the right field that I want to add. I just want to put that up here, and then again, if I put content into here, so if I put some if I put 1, 2, 3, 4 into here, for instance, that way, whenever I come back to this action, it's going to be populated with information, and I'm going to be able to see it here. I'm not going to have to add it each time, which is great. But I do have the option for show all if I want to, and then it's just going to take a second, and I can remove these ones individually. So I can remove this one, I can remove this one, and then I can hit clear all. It's not clear all the ones, but it's cleared all the ones including account number, which is what I wanted. So we'll add that back in. Oh, was it account number? Where was it? Account. I thought it was account number. Oh, I wonder if it's cleared that data. That'd be an interesting side effect to this. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4 again. Cool. So I'll add that back in. So this is a slightly different experience, and this is going to take a little bit getting used to. But as you can see, all the same things that you are expecting are here. So we'll look over at settings, and again, here's some things that are slightly different. So we have the run after. So configure run after is a common scenario that we use for try catch. So if your action hits an error, we always want another action to run after it to try and catch the error and try and handle it. We still have the option for try catch here. So I can select an action, so it gives me a list of my actions that I can do this after. It says run after, and then we've got a little green dot here, so for is successful. We've got an orange clock for has timed out, a grey circle with a line through it for has skipped, and a red with an exclamation mark circle here with a has failed. So if I choose has failed, you can see these dots update. So we can see, okay, this is only going to run if this has failed or it has been successful. So if we click all these, we get nice pretty colours here. So it's good, and now I can just bin this off altogether and say no. But each action must have one or more configurations. So I wonder what that's for. Okay, maybe it's for if you do advanced stuff. So cool. We can then look at the code view, and we can see details about that. That's fine. The testing, we can disable or enable static results. We have a few more bits of information here. So we now know that this is the Microsoft Dataverse connector. So the previous ones didn't have connectors, and it gives us a bit of detail about that connector as well. So that's all cool. That's all groovy. So I can kind of move around here and go, do you know what, I want to look at this and move this, and maybe I actually want to move this up here. So I can drag and drop, and I can drag that in there, and you can see it's nice and easy. There's a nice little outline now of like where this goes and where this can be. So that's actually really cool. Previously, you'd try and be dragging it, and you kind of see a change of the cursor, and you think it was right and release it, and then it wouldn't work and stuff like that. So that's really a really nice sort of quality of life update to this. So now I can do some other stuff. So what if we want to add in a condition? Take a look at this. So we still have the built-in actions. So we'll have add a condition, click that, and again we've now got a condition which looks different. It's again smaller, but it's still going to work in the same way. So the condition editor opens on the left hand side instead of in the middle, and we can choose something like is 1 equal to 1, for instance, and we can add new items, we can add new rows. Again, it's going to work in the same way as it did before. We can delete, we've got make group, we've got add group, we've got all the same things. We now have a little scroll bar here, so we can delete this, delete the group as well, ungroup. So again, we can do the same sort of things, and we'll just add this back in. Is 1 equal to 1. So same sort of stuff, same things that we used to. Again, in the condition itself, we can still add actions. So if we click inside of action like this, we can add an action, and we'll just chuck in a compose on this side, and we'll take a look at the expression editor. So we've got a compose in there, and we'll call this testing expression editor. I'll click on the inputs. Now, you may have noticed this in the video as we kind of went along. There is a new little pill that is your expression editor and your sort of dynamic content picker as well. As I hover over them, they actually say enter data from a previous step. You can also add data by pressing /. So hit /, and we get insert dynamic content or insert expression. So it's a nice keyboard shortcut there. To try and add something. So if I choose insert dynamic content, we're going to get the pop out here. So the pop out shows me everything that we've got here. So we've got the parameters, so things like environment variables and stuff. Then we've got to add new rows, and we can click see more, for instance, see less, and it's going to expand and contract those things. And we can take data from here. So we've got outputs, name, account name, etc. So I can put in the account name in there, and then it pops it in there. So that's cool. And again, we can see it. We can see if we hover over it, the expression that's written to get the dynamic content in there, and we can remove it as well. If I go back to it again, there's another button up here which I like, which is the full screen button. Click this one, and it gives you a bit more of a full screen experience. I say full screen, there's a lot of white space down here, of the editor. So we can again choose something like account name, or we can search through for like outputs. The search is going to do the same thing. We can click this, and again it's gonna pop it in there, although it says it's an invalid parameter at the moment. It's because I clicked away. So again, we can do the same thing. So what we'll do is we'll go in and we'll look at the expression editor. So the expression editor, this is again a sort of variation on the experimental expression editor and the old one. We have functions and dynamic content, so again we can switch between. We can actually drag this box up and down a little bit, and we can go full screen. Look at all that real estate. So we have a full screen experience now, and we can put some formulas in here, and again we've still got all our same formulas down here that we're kind of used to if we want to select from something down here. So we could say concat, for instance, and then it'll pop it into the expression up here. And then as I type things in, so I want to maybe concat like 12, 1, 2, 3, and there's a slight bug here when you do concat, when you do the full screen, it does cut off the tooltips a little bit. So then we'll add 4, 5, 6 into here, and we can continue going as long as we want, but we'll leave it there. So we can add that concat in here. We could, if we wanted to, we could add in some dynamic content, so we could do that, and then we could hit what was it, account number in there. So again, we can insert all these formulas. So once we're happy with the formula and everything else, we can hit add, and we'll see the concat in there, and we can see that it's now in there. So we can go back, we can zoom out a little bit, and we now have a nice little nice little window, nice little test canvas here. So we're going to hit this, we're going to compose a step, we're going to add a new row, and then we're going to go down here. So let's test this out. So we'll hit test, we'll hit save first, and then we'll hit test. Get the green banner, so it's recommended that you test it. We'll hit test. We'll manually run it. We'll hit test, and we'll see if we made an error. That's secure inputs. Put that in. All required inputs even. Click done, and we'll see the new test experience. So we've got a green tick for the trigger. We'll zoom in a little bit. So you can see that the trigger ran in 0 seconds. It's good. And then we've got some grey circles. No, it's just updated. Grey circles. We've got the add new row to Dataverse that is running green, and then we've got a green tick here for the condition. Let's come down to the test editor down here. So if we open up these things, so we click this. Again, this is similar to what we used to. We've got the schema input and the schema output. We've got the properties down here. We do have a couple of additional cool things. So we still have the show raw inputs, which is handy, and it pops out to the right, which again, what we know, what we love. We do have this now handy copy function, which will copy the text here to your clipboard. And we've got this function which will select all of the text. So you can select all and then copy. Select all, copy. It's cool. And yeah, we can basically pull all these bits out. So again, very similar to what we used to. Compose step, we know that's slightly different, but we can see the inputs and the outputs. We do have some other details about the start time. It's cool. Dataverse, again, what we used to. We can see the connections here. We can see the headers. We can see the body. We should be able to see the properties down here, so that's all good. It doesn't show the properties as in a separate menu, so it doesn't show like account name and stuff like that, and account number and the other things that we used to sometimes have in those little bits when we ran a flow. But we still have it all in the body, and maybe we just need to get better at reading JSON and stuff like that. So still got them all there. And then if we go down further, we can get to the testing inputs to this compose step. So we can see it's actually concatenated the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from this previous step here. So there's the parameters. Again, it's in JSON format now. So accounts is the entity name or the table name. Power Automate Gang is the name of the account, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the account number that we put in. So it is a slightly different experience. It does feel very, I won't say technical, very computerish. We've got even just the way this text is formatted just seems a bit, and the boxes and things seems very computerish. And that sounds silly to say, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. So that is the new Power Automate Designer experience. There are obviously going to be a few bugs. There may be a few parity gaps as Microsoft move this towards being the brand new expression and canvas designer. So we saw a couple of bugs with the cut off of the IntelliSense for certain things and a couple of other bits that are missing. But this is a good step forward. We've been wanting a faster designer for a while. This seems pretty fast. We've been wanting a bigger experience for our expressions for a while. We wanted that. This is a very clean experience. You kind of see everything on the left. You no longer have to expand and contract each one of the steps. It has great scalability because we can just move these things around and we can search through for actions, which is really good. So if I type in testing expression editor step, it jumps straight to that. I can see that. So on those longer flows and those bigger flows, this will come in really handy because you can just navigate straight to those areas. So this will be the new experience. It is coming soon. It is already in a lot of tenants at the moment. So you can go out there and you can take a look at it and you can try it out and let me know what you think. What do you like? What don't you like? What's missing? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, if you could like it and share it with a friend, that would be great. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, stay up to date with all my latest videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.